Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Siti Hana Nurjana from 6B of English Education. Here in lesson learning for young learners, I want to check a video for a last exam. The first is example explain about story-based pedagogy. Pedagogy. Learners are called students or students. Defended learning style. Predetermined goals. It is assumed that students are inexperienced and or uninformed. So, passive training methods such as lecture are lecture methods. Master control time and place. Participants contribute a little experience, so learning concentrate on connects or theoretical knowledge. The teachers is the main source who provides ideas and example. And pedagogy purpose or goals. So reach basic skill as a foundation for future project supporting. So and rules of the educator to each demonstrate help learners do the math education project correctly. So, making processly of pre-built kits and templates satisfy decision A. And a finished project A maker project that's look and act like the original model tutorials. So the story like the Mekawan Tomami lawan Sisianira story is part of Adiprawa. Story of parts Adiprawa. The story is live version of the interrelationship between pedagogical components such as education goals, educator, so learner, so educational tools and educational environment. And then such as the which from a system in educational practice called pedagogy system. So education compound is of Kawan Domani Lawan sister story directed to student concentrated learning, which a taste of obedience and devoted of Begawiya Domani students, namely Sang Arunika, tested by Fields. So Sang Utamamiu started by Campus Co and Sang Weda started by providing dishes in the kitchen. The exam given by Begawiya Domia to his student has been concurred is about the nature of learners as a subject and also educational objects, and therefore students are directed to adapt and interact with the environment, but still pay attention to the components of pedagogy. And so the education can be well done and hinder regulation. Education follows in a Victoria lawan Sisnapsari. Story delapan to apply a question in the implementations of education based on explanation. The purpose of this paper is to direct to pedagogy, system learning approach, and Hindu religious education follows in Bagawan Lawan Sisharnya story. Second is we explain the procedure of teaching vocabulary, sentence, and question to young learners. Okay? English is an important language for everyone to learn as the second language, including in Indonesian in second language edition. English also has language components such as pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Many students still face many difficulties to understand English text and answer reading questions because they lack vocabulary. So, to teach English, teachers should be able to choose teaching and learning method, especially for teaching vocabulary. Teachers can also use virtual materials, use virtual media to facilitate students in receiving learning material, so they don't get bored in the teaching and learning process. This means that teacher is the teaching and learning process can use visual things as media, namely like video or song or stick picture and flashcard and etc. So students can respect learning material very well, maybe I think. And then the last is explain your selected topics for group discussion. Respecting Indonesian as national identity and institutional risks to perform the national curriculum 2013, instruction has become a critical factor in the execution of English as a compulsory subject at the elementary school level. This level room for teachers' confusion and creativity leading to various practice and the different school cultures depending on parental demand and school readiness. So in today contemporary with the world has turned to a narrow English is familiar to everyone. Why? Because English is used a common language regardless of the some variants in custom, tradition and cultures, some variation in custom of the region And English also use the language as a mode of communication in business, in organization, material, or etc. Many things, many else. And so, based on the discussion above, this research come up with some conclusion. This research differs from my group. The conclusion is, in this limbo status, partnership of teaching English to young people learners vary from one school group to another. International and national school that tend to better practice teaching English by introducing more fun and interactive learning activities, as well as interesting learning material. However, they still lose emphasis on spoken English skill. I think meanwhile most local from school are still have emphasizing reading and writing activities, so maybe very much minimal emphasis on oral skill. So in reading skill, grammar is still the focus of discussion. That grammar focus on discussion, and so furthermore supported by parents as social agents. That is very important. Supported by parents as social agents. The young students prefer to be more communicative and functional English of their communication purpose. Then parents want to their children to develop their oral proficiency as a strong indicator of English competencies needs for their children's future education. And here, that's the parent, I think, is very important for children education. And the next is the teacher is in local school clusters. The large number in country has the forest competence, so it needs special attention. Then improve students' English competence. Misleading teaching practice by this unstable teacher maybe there's even the phrase the master of English among Indonesian young learners. And this study also has some limitation, mainly related to the size of the participants amongst participating school are limited to findings are possible, cannot be generalized to all. primary school in Indonesia maybe. So, however, write description of triangulation, observation, interviews, and document analysis provides a strong justification for describing real condition or teaching English to young learners. Indonesian students is three different school cultures. So also short-term observation might not converse the entire teaching and learning practice in school. In that discourse, sectional data and collection and triangulation can competent for this limited duration. I think just for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.